Hello, leaders. Hey, this is Paul Grau, and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges, the daily show that helps you leverage conflict to master your leadership skills and live your best life. Hey, today, I want to give a big shout out to every one of you for listening because this is my 700th episode. Man, it just seems like yesterday that I was just being convinced by my mastermind group to start a podcast. And now here I am, 700 episodes later, looking back over the last 2 years. I've met so many new people over the last couple of years, and it's awesome to see the amount of people who are eager about leadership and just passionate to learn as much as possible in order to serve your people better. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. And today's show is titled, The Most Effective Leaders All Have This One Thing. So do you wish that there was one sure thing that you could develop and get better at each day in order to be the most effective leader possible? If so, man, you're in luck, because there is one thing that the most effective leaders all have in common with each other. This one thing allows you to know yourself better and to know the people around you better, and it allows you to be aware of your emotions and the emotions of the people around you, so that you can manage both your emotions and their emotions nearly simultaneously. Now, if you're thinking this is just too good to be true, well, let me introduce you to emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence has been around for quite some time and is being accepted more and more as a sure way to identify great leaders. However, very few organizations are starting out with emotional intelligence when it comes to identifying and selecting who is the best person to be a leader. The most simplest definition that I found for emotional intelligence comes from a book called Emotional Intelligence, A Practical Guide by Dr. David Walton. And Dr. Walton says that emotional intelligence is the ability to manage the impact of emotions on our relationships with others. That's it. And, I've heard a lot of really complicated definitions and explanations of what emotional intelligence is, but that's it. It's just managing the impact of emotions on our relationship with others. Now, it gets a little bit deeper than that, but just keep that in mind. It's your ability to manage emotions on our relationship with others. Now, just think about that, because if we can manage the impact of our emotions on our relationship with others, we can lead them effectively to the point where we will know when their emotions are great or good or not so good. We can also identify our emotions and manage them well. I said in the beginning that all of the most effective leaders have emotional intelligence. And I would like to add that the most effective leaders not only have emotional intelligence, but they have a high level of emotional intelligence. Now, here's the really cool thing. Unlike IQ, which cannot be improved upon much throughout your entire life, emotional intelligence can be improved by studying it and taking the proper steps in each of the 5 components that make up emotional intelligence. This week, we aren't necessarily going to break down each of the 5 components. However, we will give you some tips on how having a high level of emotional intelligence in each of the components will help you be a better leader. So just to give you a really quick glimpse, the 5 components, according to Daniel Goleman, who's basically considered one of the fathers of emotional intelligence, he states that the 5 components are self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Now, each one of these components are made up of 3 to 5 subcategories, but I'm not going to get into them today. Today's challenge is to pull out your smartphone or computer and Google emotional intelligence and just read 1 or 2 articles about it. If you've already got a really good grasp on what emotional intelligence is, then have a discussion with some other people today or with your family and friends this evening. Because the quickest way to master a topic is to have a conversation about it and to teach others about it. Hey, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And be sure to join us the rest of the week for tips on improving your emotional intelligence and to learn the impact that a high level of emotional intelligence will have on your leadership. Until tomorrow, run to your challenges.